All right. Welcome to Thursday, everybody. Wow. Normally, I almost said Tuesday because we usually do this on Tuesday. But yeah, thanks for joining us. I'm Jay. I'm joined by John, producer of all things Whiskey Net and our Bourbon Selections. Thanks for joining me, John. If you guys are tuning in, you know that it's not Tuesday because we usually meet on Tuesdays. But Thursday, we have a special programming coming up for you because we have some awesome barrels to pick tonight. Yes, let's get weird indeed. Tonight, if you're joining us, our bourbon's picking another barrel. In the past, we have done a Russell's Reserve. We have done a Penelope blend. It is time for us to pick a Knob Creek. Which I'm super fucking pumped about. If you guys know anything about me, you know that Knob Creek is a huge dream of mine to do one for the subreddit. Maybe do many, many more. I did like 51 of these barrels 2017, 2018. Huge series. So super fun. Super blessed to be able to do an opportunity like this, pick a barrel for the subreddit. We'll do many more. But yeah, thanks for stopping in. John, go ahead and introduce yourself. You guys should know John at this point. He's awesome. He's been running the buttons and stuff. But kick us off and then we'll get going.
I am most certainly pressing buttons. How many of them end up being useful is most certainly up for interpretation. Anyways, I'm John, the Bourbon Finder. Happy to be here. Absolutely love Knob Creek. So I'm getting pretty pumped about digging into these and seeing what we can suss out for delicious notes here. There you go.
Yeah. It's nice. It's like, usually we don't do two of these in a week. Usually we do one a week. But as you can see, I was on vacation last week and I burnt from head to toe. So it is good to be back. Oh, we're in Tuesday mode.
Ooh. Yikes.
No.
You didn't tell me about that in the green room.
I didn't see it. But anyways, I'll catch you guys up. So today's Thursday. We're doing a Knob Creek single barrel pick. Knob Creek is sample the cast strength. It will be diluted down to 60% ABV. I have 3 barrels for us to taste. Another moderator, Zillah, who you guys should all know because he writes probably the best reviews I've ever written. He has already written his notes, so we'll do a tasting tonight. He sent me his notes. He said, don't read these until after you taste. So tonight I will look over them afterwards, and I'll compile some notes and post them tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Probably tomorrow. We'll get those out there, and then we'll see which barrel we're picking. Saturday morning, I get these notes into Beam. They sent us this gigantic suitcase box, which honestly I think is pretty neat. It weighs about 11 pounds, if I had to be quite honest with you, and it comes with some stuff like a cylinder, but I don't think we'll proof these down. We'll check them out.
Would you go ahead and when I die have me cremated and stored in that Knob Creek box, please?
Yeah, right. Like, and it's funny too because like people assume, I'll hold it up here, people assume these boxes were like a thing of COVID, which isn't the case. Like Beam has been doing this for at least 5 years that I know of. Like I actually turned one of these into a table. I separated them and I turned the bottom into a shelf and the top into a table, and it holds all my audio gear over there. But they've known what's up for some time here. They sent us 3 samples. I know what they are. I haven't told John what they are. Zillah doesn't know what they are. Yes. Yes, Blake. These are the same exact sports coats from the other night.
Mine is different, but it's okay.
Oh yeah,
I like to mix it up. Yeah, I wore my whatever blue this one is. I wore the other blue last time.
Okay. Well,
next time I'll probably go silver.
I own 1 sport coat, so you can always be assured that this is the.
Just wait till St. Patty's when we get the holy moly, straight up green style ones. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
David,
to answer. Oh yeah, good to see you, David. David Jennings from Rarebird 101. Hokey asked a great question. Any of the stats in the barrels? Yes, I know the stats. Zillah didn't know them. John doesn't know them. I'll review them at the end if I haven't burned up sunburn since then. But I have them all in front of me. I also have a little bit of a. I don't think we'll really proof these down. These are pretty close, but they sent some water too.
Some
in a cylinder. Yeah, some
water,
peanut water. Yeah, but so we have 3 samples. I think that that's pretty typical. Next week we'll be picking a smooth ambler. That's 5 to 6 year MGP. John and I will be picking again. We'll be joined by Prep Rebel Douche, who's a very prominent Reddit user. We'll be picking 2 barrels that night. So bring your Advil for that one. But I don't know about you, John. What do you say? Should we start diving in?
I think first off, DJ's got a pretty good recommendation. Let's get you to mirror your video so we can be looking at each other. And I want to have deep eye contact when we agree on things, okay?
Is that a setting? Can I do that?
I'm sure you can mirror your video. I don't know if you could do it within StreamYard. You might have to do it from your video capture.
Ooh, that's gonna be. I'm coming right off the cam, so maybe Smooth Amber night we'll face each other.
That would be sweet. Or I wonder, I could probably mirror mine and face away from you, so we can be like, "This is totally blind. We're not influencing each other."
then you could flip us, since StreamYard now does things like features.
Okay, you start nosing. I'm gonna start fucking this up.
All right. Well, it's Thursday, which means it's almost Friday, so it's time to get after it. We let's see. We have 3 samples.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like being on the right side of the screen. It feels good. This feels right.
It's weird to be on the left, but I'm kind of into it.
It's definitely awesome. You're kicking me under the table now, though. I feel that.
I have nothing to say about that. I would never kick you under the table, John. I would never. Anyways, we have samples. We have A, B, and C, or as English people know, 1, 2, and 3. John and I are going to go and taste through these. We'll give some notes. We'll answer some questions. That's pretty much, I think, the lay of the land for this. Sometimes we have like 5 or 8 samples. It's actually kind of nice to only have 3 for this one. I'm super pumped. This will be a selection. It should hit after we pick it very quickly, probably about October, November. Smooth Ambler. Once we pick it, we'll go into immediate pre-sale, which I'm also pretty pumped about. But yeah, why don't we get to, for those of you that haven't had much Beam is known for its prominent, it has a pretty, I'd say, pretty apparent flavor profile.
Yeah.
I warmed up with a little Baker's because a little Beam is never enough. So I had some of the Baker's 13.
That's a good warm up.
It was really nice. I hadn't had it in a while, but really,
yeah,
really
I like that one a lot.
Cool. So I've sample A here. This is I've actually started using branded Glencairns to like figure out which samples which. Otherwise, they get all messed up.
You don't forget them. I guess that's a good plan.
Yeah. Cool beans.
Okay, here we go. Hokey, is that the selection from? Oh, geez, was it Portsmouth? I'm trying to remember what. I've got one too. I think it was 14 and a half here, or it might have been 15. But killer value because New Hampshire's prices are fucking money.
Yeah, every time I drive to New Hampshire, I'm super into it.
Oh yeah, you get a stop at one of those liquor stores.
Every time. Man. So this is sample A. I know what it is. John does not.
I'm gonna take a stab here.
And to
bourbon.
Yeah, seems bourbon. These are so we're sampling these at cast strength. They will be diluted to 60% ABV. I'll let you guys know how much they'll be diluted, but
they can't be a ton over 60%.
No, not from what we know about Beam.
Right.
Wow.
Jeez, I don't hate this so far though.
No, this is quite nice. What are you getting from it?
Well, it pulls a little more fruit than the standard knob single barrel for me. I haven't dug into it quite enough yet.
This has a lot more caramel than I usually get from Knob Creek, which is kind of enticing.
Yeah, there's like a heavy sweetness going on. I can't place it yet.
Man, this does not smell like almost 130-ish proof, between 120 130 proof bourbon.
No, it doesn't. It sips a little bit like it, but it's not hot though. I mean, if you told me it was 110, I'd be like, yeah, okay, sure. That makes sense.
It's really viscous.
Yeah, it's got a good feel to it.
Okay,
yeah, there's a layer of fruit in there. I can't put my finger on yet. I'm gonna come back to that one.
Yeah, I get fruity right away, and then I get a little heat on the finish. Nothing crazy. I mean, I think if you don't expect heat over like 55% ABV, maybe you're crazy to begin with. But
yeah, your palate's already fucked. You're some type of rat bastard that nobody's gonna trust. I think, man, that finish is still going from that. That's nice.
This has a long finish. Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
it's interesting too, because so like the nose is like super caramel forward, lots of toffee, almost like kind of a gingerbread. But then once the palate hits, it's all like cream and fruit.
Very sweet. Very. I'd almost go as far as to call it rich.
Yeah, I would say it's rich.
I'm moving up to B. I got to leave that first one alone for a minute.
Yeah, the finish was actually pretty good on A. And let's see what B has for us. Oh yeah, see, this is totally different to me.
Yeah, drastically different.
This is not at all the same. Which is good. I always wondered if like sometimes they're like ha, 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 and they tag like 3 barrels that are all exactly the same, right in the same pack. It's like, fuck these guys.
These idiots will get whatever we send them.
So have you ever had what is it, Crown from like the 1960s, 70s?
I have, actually.
That has like that pungent maple syrup, like toffee, not cocoa, but like that brown
like dark,
sugar,
sweet baking. Yeah.
This is really reminiscent of that. This is not fruity at all.
No, this is like a oaky caramel type of.
Oh man,
I wouldn't even say brown sugar. It's not that sweet. It's definitely drier.
It's not quite cocoa. I'm like having a hard time. It's like that molasses, like that really like not quite tobacco, but
no, but it's much darker than the other one.
Yeah, a lot more oak to it too.
There's a little bit of fruit that comes through there on the back palate. But man, did I get a little note of barrel char on that too.
Yeah, certainly. Almost some like charcoal to it a little bit too.
Yeah. It was definitely like a char. It wasn't like sweet oak. It was like a deeper char.
This almost reminds me of too. I don't know if you ever had like really old like I wouldn't say old Weeder. I think that's dumb, but like old like some of the older like old Fitzgerald that have like kind of like a cocoa like burnt cherry note to it.
I could see burnt cherry. That would make sense. I haven't had.
It really reminds me of the
but I'm seeing that.
The Traverse City cherries. This
reminds me. I wish you hadn't said that, because I was just going to say there's a dark chocolatey cherry note in the Traverse City barrel proof that this is reminding me of.
This is that cherry note, but like in a good way.
Yeah, it is.
Which is strange because I usually get cherry out of Buffalo Trace more than Knob Creek. But
I almost always pull a whole mess of cherry and apple out of there.
Here Buffalo it is.
Trace, that is. But yeah, this is man, that one's different.
Woo. This one actually feels a little more mild on the palate too. This is sample B. Wow. Even looking too, like, I don't know if the camera will get this, but like there's some like pretty hefty, I don't know, it's really viscous in the glass, which is interesting because usually Knob Creek doesn't have that for me.
Man, I like that upfront oak and toffee that's going on with it. And then it does move right through into that darker fruit.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So anybody that just jumped into the chat here, we are, as the bottom of the screen will let you know, selecting Knob Creek barrel here. We are on the second of 3 samples right now, just kind of nosing our way and tasting our way through them, taking some mild notes, going back and forth and kind of discussing what they come out as smelling and tasting for us. And we're going to kind of narrow it down after that. There's another taster on the panel who has already submitted his notes remotely, his or her notes. I guess I don't remember.
It's a him.
And we're going to compare all of those together at the end. Jay will let us know the stats on each barrel, and we'll dig in. Yancey's on Team Caramel. He gets it. He gets it. This guy.
Caramel is the way to go, just like pecan. It is a pecan pie.
Indeed, it is a pecan pie. If you don't think so, that's fine. You're wrong, but it's okay.
I mean, I can see it. Like, I grew up saying pecan. I think, to me, traditionally, I always be pecan. But, like, when I hear people say pecan, I don't think, like, is that right?
That's good of you, because when I hear people say it any other way aside from pecan, I'm like, well, that person is probably an idiot.
Well, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
And his pie. Oh, man.
Yeah, that pie probably blows.
It's funny too, because like almost, I don't know if it's suggestion, but I get like a praline note in the finish on this one on number 2.
Are we drinking from the same glass? Oh, Jesus Christ!
This is good stuff.
Oh, I just meant like we had the same.
Oh, are you rocking the same Glen?
I have mine. I'm on sample C now, though.
Okay, so I'm finishing up B out of a Penelope Glencairn, and you're cracking into C.
Oh, I get B is the Bourbon Pursuit glass.
Okay,
Really
I think
my set focus there.
C is the only one I have that's unbranded. The first one was a Subtle Spirits. If you know Joshua Tennis and his acute nose for spirits, you're definitely a fan of Subtle Spirits. But C for me is totally unbranded, super boring. But
A is unbranded for mine.
All right, so we were so close to being like
hey, would you take it easy?
Synced up.
All right, I'm into C.
Okay, C. I'm in C as well. I've just nosed it.
Man, that's bright caramel for me.
Yeah, this is probably the most. This is like almost like 100 grand. No, Payday Bar.
Yeah, caramel, peanutty, brighter, sweeter.
Oh, that's nice.
That is a Knob Creek profile. I don't hate that one. Man, that's got a finish on it too. I wish B had the finish that the first one had, because I like a lot of the darker stuff that was going on there in B.
Woo! Oh yeah, good question, Shane. If you want to pop that guy up here. Other guy.
Got it.
Yeah, so if you're tuning in, great question, Shane. So I get this one a lot. I get this probably every time an email goes out. So the way we're running this now is that if you are on the email list, I will email you with every update. And also when the barrels hit the retailer, I will do the lottery system for every bottle. So everyone gets a fair shot. It's the best way I can do in 2020, where we started with 10 distilleries. We went down to 2. Now we're back up to 10. A lot has changed. In 2021, you will get to sign up and select your preference of distilleries I know that are on the ballot, and also if you just have preferences in general. But each of these picks are being done by a different retailer, which I think is super cool. You know, we're kind of spreading these bottles around. A lot are being done by Sealbox. Blake at Sealbox rocks. He's handled a lot of stuff for us, especially last year's knockout, which was the Diamond in the Riff, new Riff selection. He's doing our Penelope this year. He's done some other awesome stuff, especially if you're familiar with aficionados at all. But other than this, like the Russells will go through Maison Cobot over on the West Coast, as well as some of these as well. So we're kind of scattering around, but as long as you're on the email list, you'll get information about each one that comes to market, which is super important because there's a lot that are coming to market in the next 3 months. By end of year, we'll have 10 barrels going out. So, you know, you want to, keep an eye. As long as you're on the email list, you're entered. And if you get picked for a bottle and you're like, I don't want to buy it, that's totally cool. And we'll throw your offer back in. But at this point, we're nearing probably 30-1 per bottle. So, if you get a shot and you're not super into it, cool, throw it back. But if you're into it, grab it, because if not, someone else is going to get it. But we try and make it pretty fair. So that's kind of a breakdown of the buying strategy.
Hannah gets it.
See, it's caramel to me. It's like 2 words, caramel, 2 syllables, caramel. These caramel people are janky.
Yeah, you got that right.
Just like people that say syrup. I never got that. Are you a syrup person? I'm a syrup person. Like I take syrup.
I don't think I could say it objectively now. I think I'd call it syrup.
Yeah, syrup.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I knew you were cool.
It's nice to feel cool. I feel better about myself now. Auditor. I'll get that in the chat in a second here. Man, I want to blend these together so bad right now.
That would be fun. Maybe next year we'll do a Knob Creek blend. I mean, Beam might tell us to go fuck ourselves, but I think that'd be fun. Hey guys, can we have 900 bottles of these 2 barrels? This one to me almost screams the most like on profile Knob Creek.
I love that peanut brittle that they get in there.
Yes.
That like, man, it is just like sweet caramel up front.
I'm hesitant to say because I know it's like kind of a meme at this point, but like it has a really nice like almond bark, like marzipan, like
Because of that sweetness.
yeah, it really reminds me of like a payday bar, but with a little more caramel to it. Oh, that's nice.
It's crazy how many of the knob picks end up being so easy to compare to a candy bar.
It really is. And I think maybe that's something that I really enjoy about them. Like back in 2015, these things, you either got an amazing bottle or you got like hot garbage that made you want to run for the hills. And now, like, even ones I'm like, I don't love that as much. It's still like really good bourbon and is really bourbon. I'm like, honestly, this is very desserty. Like Knob Creek has a super dessert profile, which is probably why I enjoy it so much. Cause like I'm a little fat boy that likes dessert, but
that's why I love you.
Which was funny because the Chattanooga selection for Bourboner was just a bunch of people being like, I love dessert. Like, let's buy this one because it reminds me of dessert. I love
that
dessert.
Was a fucking hilarious and fun pick to be in the audience for.
But man, this is straight dessert. I'm curious to go back to A and B after this one, but
I know I keep going from C to compare to A and then C to compare to B.
I really like C.
So I did like a little micro pour sampling of these ahead of time. Just so I could sort of rule out, like, is one of these going to be way out for me, or is one of these going to be like, I want to put it in my pocket and carry it around all day in case I need a little bit of it.
Sure.
And C to me stood out the most in that real quick micro pour test. And it was because of that, like, sweet peanutty, like mildly oaky type of amazingness that you can dig out of these Knob Creek barrels. But the A is coming through with a lot of stuff that's nice, a lot of really good fruit, and like just a whole, like a little bit off profile for a Knob Creek pick, but like not in a bad way.
No, that's the first thing I think of when I pick it up. It's almost like taking on like a strawberry cream cotton candy note.
Man, it's like there's a very rich like fruit salad type of thing going on there. Every time I hear somebody say fruit salad, the first thing I think of is the line in Fight Club where he yells, the next person to come out here gets a fucking lead salad. I don't know why I tie those two things together, but I mean, this is basically like a delicious lead salad.
It's funny because I watched that like 2 weeks ago. Because I always watch it in the summer. It's interesting too because like I would definitely, if someone were to give me B and C blind, I'd be like, oh, that's Knob Creek. But this one, I certainly wouldn't. But I'm having a hard time wondering what I would peg it for instead.
I know. I think that this would be one of those confusing ones where it would be such a head scratcher where I'm thinking, okay, it tastes like Beam, but it doesn't really smell all the way like Beam. Like, this is one of those ones for me, like it could have been a Russell's pick. Every now and then, like you get just the right profile on a Russell's that can kind of lean toward that Beam nuttiness.
Yeah.
And they can kind of like confuse the fruit. Like, so for me, usually the real prominent apple and a lot of the sweeter cherry will come to the Buffalo Trace side. The darker citrus stuff I'll usually get out of the turkey. And then when it comes into the Beam stuff, it's like, okay, you get like the praline, the sweet nutty peanut butter type of deal. And sometimes like a layer of like an indiscernible fruit. And it's usually like leaning towards the red side, like a bit of a berry or something to that effect.
Certainly. It's funny because like tasting A, it's like for those of you that were unfortunate enough to deal with Fuller House, this is like not Cosmo Jr. This is like Stag Jr. almost. Where it like doesn't have quite as much oak as Stag Jr., but like the cherry component is so bold. Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
It's like Stag Jr.
It's a little staggy.
I want to put like a tiny deer on this one.
Small
It's
deer on
like,
top of a bigger deer.
well,
A
yeah,
deer
that might
and a
get us
turkey and a duck, and call it like a turdeerkin.
turducken. Yeah, see, I think that would fit. I mean, like, because like Stag Junior has a little bit more oak, and like I get that it's almost 10
It
years.
does a little
Like,
more vanilla.
yeah, this is like riding so hard in the cherry, but like in a way that I enjoy. That I
Yeah,
think
it
that
is.
it's really interesting.
Can we get A and C?
And then blend them.
No, can we get them both and drink them separately and enjoy our lives?
Honestly, Beam would probably be for that. I'm comparing A and B now. I think that maybe if I like,
I kind of pushed
oh yeah,
B out, but just because I was really interested in the other two. There's nothing wrong with this one at all.
so I really like B, but it's almost too sweet. It's like pungently sweet.
I think there's like a layer of like vanilla buttercream. There's also like some spice in there, like almost like a spice cake. That's pretty
This one would
mild
be
though.
great for the holidays, like
Mm.
Christmas time. Wow, I have to admit, knowing the proofs of these, I'm pretty impressed. As like the proof is very well behaved, which is not like sometimes Knob Creek can kind of be like, "Ooh, I'm free," and run unbridled and just kind of shred your palate. Grab C here.
I mean, I
And
kind of like
honestly,
the dry, almost buttery finish that you get on B,
mm-hmm.
but it's just not as it doesn't have as much going on as the other two on the finish anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that like almost buttery sensation that it gives you.
Yeah, I'm actually really. I didn't expect to get quite as much diversity in
Yeah,
the three of these.
Yeah, the differences are pretty stark on these.
Let me pull up. Yeah, I'm actually a little more torn here. I thought this was like, oh, we'll just bang through three of these and we'll know exactly which one. I'm
Yeah,
having
I figured after my little micro pour session there that I'd be like, okay, well, it's C, so let's just take that one and be done with it. But
just pack it up.
so Shane has a pretty good question. He wanted to know what are the age ranges on the Knob Creek option?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's age stated as 9 years, so they're going to be at least 9. I've seen them as old as 15 and a half. I've heard of 16-year-old picks, but I've never seen or had one.
Yep.
And for me, a lot of times the sweet spot is like 13 and a half to 14 years. I think they like the 9 to 11 year stretch is where they tend to be a little more fruity. And then as you get into that 12 to 13 to 14, you pick up a little bit more like the chocolate caramel. Like they're still sweet, but you get a little bit more of that peanut flavor that kind of comes through. It brings in the candy bar type of notion that'll come along with that.
Yeah, I think so. The oldest one I've had was 16. I think 16 and a half. The best of the oldies I had was All Hallows Eve at Lincoln Road. And I think that one was picked 4 years ago. That was a 15 and a half. But yeah, it's interesting because like they obviously age state all these at 9 years, even though many of them are much older. But I tend to find myself in either I like it at like 9 to 10 or like 12 to 13. But I've had some great 15s. Like they walk the oak line really well at 15. Like any other bourbon, I'd be really concerned. Like, ooh, that's a little bit risky. But I've had too many Knob Creek that are over oaked personally.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not necessarily that they get over oaked. I mean, that tannic level that they have is going to be high. But what ends up happening for me is that the sweet notes fall off. So you don't end up getting the like candy bar type of notion. Like you don't get as much of the sweet caramel that comes through. You end up having the drier, peanutty, oaky side, which still like I appreciate that. I think probably more than most people. I kind of like an oakier stuff, like a good strong peanutty, oaky, like even on the old Ezra or like Rebel Yell 10, like some of those can get kind of that stronger, drier note, and I like that too. But on the Knob Creeks, man, when you get one with that sweet caramel and it brings in that punch of the beam nuttiness with a good background of oak, they can be real tasty. Of the three here, the most on profile for me is C.
Interesting. Yeah. I would agree. I think C. So I'm leaning really for me, I think it's between A and C here. Like,
Yeah. I'm with
I
you.
love what B has going. B is almost, and I love sweet. Like, I'm a little fat girl, but like B is almost too sweet for me. I think it's really, it reminds me of dusty bourbon, but typically in the way that some of those dusty bourbons, like I don't like they're really and kind of thinner, a little more muted, more like just like, hey, I'm super sweet, super dessert forward without a lot of complexity.
Mm.
I don't know. What do you think? Should we narrow this down to A and C?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, I like if you told me that we had to take A or
All
B
three?
or C, I'd be like, good, sign me up. I'll buy it. They're all great.
Yeah. Honestly, I like when we finish this, I'm gonna go drink B in my living room and be like yes.
I'm gonna mix whatever I have left together, and I don't know.
Oh, there's
sit
an
in
idea.
your living room.
Oh yeah, come on over. I mean, the walk from Maine to Wisconsin is very short this time of year.
Yeah. With the daylight savings, it all adds up.
Oh my god. All right, so A and C. I still have some B. Maybe we'll take like the last 5 minutes. We'll blend this. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Okay.
But I'm between A and C here. I think
for real life, we should just see if the option to buy both is there.
Oh yeah, I mean, so because the nice thing is,
like, we could lean a little bit on the sweeter side with A, and then a little bit more on profile, peanut brittle with C. What about an oak nut? Says Hokey.
That's better than a musty nut, if I'm not mistaken.
Yikes. Yeah, just a little touch of dock in there.
Oh, no. I like dock in that. No.
Man, that layer of sweet fruitiness in A is nice.
Yeah, coming back to that, I mean, I liked it right away, but like coming back to it, it's dumb. Like I almost want to call it like Stag Junior Junior. Like
it is dumb, but you're right.
If someone told me like, hey, Stag Junior now does barrel picks and we got one here, try some, I'd be like, oh, well, that's certainly Stag Junior Junior.
Yeah, well, certainly. If there was a touch more vanilla in there, or even like a little bit stronger oak, I'd be like actually considering maybe they swapped one of these out for a Buffalo Trace barrel. Just the fuck with us.
Which is nice. Like it has that cherry that I like from Stag Junior, but it has a little more oak and peanut, which I think is almost like a, if someone told me like there was an otherworldly like combination of the two.
Yeah.
That would never happen because it's like cats and dogs like living together. But man,
Stag Creek, man.
Stag Creek. Boy, that would be a great sticker that would get me sued by 2 major distilleries all at once.
Perfect.
Or Knob Junior. Oh, that we can't put that up. Yeah, so I'm just really impressed by how much cherry, peanut brittle, oak, and a bit of like a barrel char note that A has.
I'm gonna proof these a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I could have sent you some of the purified Kentucky water.
No, I want to use non-purified Maine water.
Okay. There's like a lobster in your glass?
No, I took him out.
Okay. Well, that brine is necessary to a good flavor profile.
Yeah, you got that right. All right, I proofed these. I gave each one 3 drops of water. Anybody that just jumped in, we are going through 3 samples of Knob Creek to choose a barrel here. We have narrowed it down to samples A and C, which are pulling in totally different profiles. C being very on profile, beam, sweet caramel type of, what did you say? Payday, candy bar type of deal.
Yeah.
A with a much lesser and even less on profile flavor here with a lot more fruit going on in it. So we're gonna kind of compare these two and see what the hell.
So did you add a couple drops to both or just one?
3 drops to each.
Okay. I added 4 to each, so pretty close.
Well, Jesus, H Christ on a bicycle. Let me get some more drops.
I mean, we can assume the eardropper is bigger than my dropper.
Deeper.
Oh. Okay then. All right.
What's up, Pepe? How you doing?
Turn into one of those. Hey, Joel.
Yeah, this
All
is
right.
your fault.
Well, I mean, we didn't have to measure droppers, but here we are.
Well, you know what? I used the dropper from the Traverse City kit because it was the one that was sitting here.
I think they might be the same as the one from the...
Yep, it is.
Shit, it's like all these guys buy from the same supplier.
Weird. All right. I'm going in with 4 drops of water here.
Oh.
Call it Bach. Holy shit. That's actually money.
How to get banned from all the distilleries I'm working with and once.
You know what comes to mind too is that like one of those big buck hunter games that you would play like at a dive bar.
Yeah, like at Dave & Buster's, and you get 2 tickets because the gun doesn't point in the right direction.
We don't have that here. It's the main,
All I can think of is the Parks and Rec where he tries to win buck hunter and then he takes Donna out and hunts deer at night when it's illegal.
Auditor, you didn't throw those out? I think those are single-use pipettes, man.
Yeah, you got to toss those things. Otherwise, you're going to get coronavirus.
You're going to at least get the diabetes. Wilford Brimley knows all about it. Okay.
All right. So,
going back into A now.
Yeah, it's totally different in a good way. Like, yeah. Jeez, man.
That really elevated that sweet layer of fruit there.
That opened up for sure. Maybe should I tell you what the barrel proofs are on A and C?
I don't think it's going to make a difference to me on my on what I'm doing with it. I mean, you could share it if you want to. I don't think it'll change anything for me one way or the other.
I was just thinking, like, if we wanted to try and get them both to 120, where the will be bottled.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be fun.
So it's really funny. Of the 3 samples, one of them was much lower proof than the others, and that was B, which we kicked out.
Yep.
So sample A is 125 proof straight from the barrel, and sample C is 127 proof straight from the barrel.
That sounds about right. I didn't feel like either one was much higher than 60%.
No, so maybe why don't we throw 1 extra drop in C?
Yeah.
For the completely unscientific scientific.
Yeah, for math.
To give it a little extra bump, but these should both be coming in, kind of close here.
Okay.
But yeah, totally different. I mean, A isn't like totally different. Like it hasn't shifted profile. It hasn't changed. It's just like it's really bright now compared to what it was.
I feel like it brightened up. That sweet layer kind of elevated to a new level there.
Oh man, I like that.
Stu, let me know how you like that.
Oh yeah, bourbon stew. I bet that's going to be good. All right, so C. I went on tasting C now.
Yeah, I'm on C as well. So this is exactly dialed in according to science, right on 120 proof. So we know exactly what it'll taste like.
This one is so much hotter to me than A.
It does seem a little hot, a little thinner, a little hotter.
Yeah.
I think A can up a little bit better. I'm kind of leaning that way, even though I really like the profile on C. But I think between the two, the A is more interesting. It's pretty.
Yeah, I think I might be there with you. Like, there's nothing wrong with C, but I think A has a lot more character and like it shines through. It certainly has a lot more body, which are all the things that I'm looking for in a Knob Creek. The C it's certainly good, but C is kind of like what I think I'd get from like just like grabbing a random 9-year single barrel off the shelf kind of thing.
Yeah, I can see that. Man, I really wish that at least one of these had jumped out as being older. I feel like these got to be on the lowest end of the age scale that they would give out.
Oh yeah,
like 9-year in a day. Like none of the do they give you age info on the barrels?
Yeah, so I actually have all of the
Oh, you got it all then. We're good to go.
I think so. Yeah, so
I'm good to go with A. I think A.
I mean,
of these, I would take any of the above. I think they're all very good. There's a lot of things in B that I really like, actually. What was the proof on B?
So the proof on B was 121.8 right from the barrel.
Oh, so there wouldn't be a whole hell of a lot of dilution there anyway.
No, maybe a drop or two, but
just for like one drop in B just to fuck around.
Yeah, I mean, science is good.
Yeah, I'm all about science and booze. Let's see how this one mixes up here. Yeah, there's just like B's a lot darker. A little bit of that spice cake buttercream type of deal. Almost a little bit of pepper in there.
Yeah, it's so sweet to me.
It is. It's very sweet on the palate.
Without like a ton of character besides like, hey, I'm brown sugar. Okay, bye.
Right. Yeah, very. Yeah, rich, but only like, I don't know, not one-dimensional, but not real. There's not a ton going on.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a bad way, though. I mean, like, it would be a totally good sipper. And it'll probably make an absolutely fucking bang-up old-fashioned, too.
Yeah, and it's weird. So, like, Penelope ruined me. Now I'm like, man, if I was to blend these three, I would totally take, like, 70% of, A, and I would take 20% of B and 10% of C. And,
Yeah.
Which is like ruined me for, like, single barrel bourbon, honestly. But
yeah, when we signed off Tuesday night after our stream with Blake from Bourboner, I had poured out, let's see, I had 2 ryes and 2 bourbons, and we signed off. We left the green room, and I was like, I'm just gonna fuck with these for a minute, and I like did a little bit of cross pouring and blending, and I made one sweet fucking bourbon rye abomination.
Oh shit!
Had like this really rich, like caramel, like dark caramel type of like leave it in the pan like just a little bit, so it's no longer like a light color. It's really starting to get closer to being burnt.
Yeah,
it had that going on with a nice rye spicy background. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm okay with not a whole lot going on. I like things that are extremely delicious and boring.
I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, some people too are like, is bourbon better if it's like super different and interesting? Like, no, like it just needs to be good. But there's like some people are like, well, this is only great if it's super different. But like bourbon, like typically can't be. I mean, at least compared to like the world of like Scotch and rum and mezcal, like bourbon, you're very compact into what you're going to get. Like you're going to get some nuance here, and you're going to get a lot of nuance in this direction. But like 2 scotches can be just so insanely different. We get that with bourbon very, very rarely, if anything. But I'm actually really impressed that like I kind of expected all 3's kind of taste the same, but all 3 of these had very strongly different profiles, which is very interesting.
I'm going to run and grab something right fast. You girls talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. It's going to be in reference to Joel's question here.
Oh, the coffee barrel? Yeah. So while John is making a run to the ladies' room or whatever he's doing, I have all of the sheets here, so he's going to miss out. One of the interesting parts is that some places like kind of let you dictate a profile, like, hey, I want to taste this. Hey, I want to taste that. This is our first pick with Knob. Next year, we'll probably do 3 of these, if I had to guess. So we'll get a little more selection. All 3 of these are from Warehouse X in Claremont, Kentucky. If you like the X-Men, that's probably going to speak to you. Otherwise, Beam has a million billion warehouses all over everywhere before. But let's see. So all 3 of these are from floor 3. So I bet John's missing out now. All of them are from Rick 39, Rick 40, Rick 33. So pretty close in the warehouse. A little bit different places, but not wildly different. They're from tier 3, from tier 2, from tier 3. So you can kind of see where we're narrowing into a specific portion of warehouse X. So we have a pretty small spread, which I think is very interesting. You know, we don't have barrels from all over Kentucky. I'll save you guys the ages. If you have any guesses, feel free to leave them in the chat. But yeah, I think we're pretty set on A. Like, I really like B. It's not as complex. There's not as much going on. It's very sweet, brown sugar, marzipan, kind of a fudgy character. Oh, there you are.
Oh, hey, here I am.
Cool. I just gave them all the info, so you missed out.
That's fine. They were all under 130 proof, under 10 years. All delicious.
Yeah. So the final ages, sample A was barreled on May 25th of 2011. So it's just about 9.5 years old. Sample B was barreled on May 23rd of 2011. So it's just about 9.5 years old. And sample C was barreled on May 23rd, 2011. So it's just about 9.5 years old too, which I probably wouldn't have expected so much out of B. A and C felt very much around the 9-10 year profile, which I seem to prefer in these.
Yep. None of them to me stuck out as being, they didn't quite get into that range of where things can get either really, really, really good or really dodgy.
Yeah, we definitely, we got out of the like, oh, this is going to be hit or miss. Like,
right.
Honestly, I think there's a reason
9 to 12, they're always going to be good.
Yeah. And we really avoided that kind of like, this is super dodgy, but I've been a fan of everything 9 to 11 years. And we all know that the program as of last year has come under like extreme stresses. Like Beam has gotten rid of the 15 year, got rid of the 13 year, they got rid of the 12 year. So I mean, right around 9 to 10 years is probably the sweet spot for bourbon to begin with, in my opinion. Like over that, you're risking it. Under that, you're also kind of in kind of sketchy waters.
Yeah, I like to live a little bit in sketchy waters. So, I mean, for me, 10 to 12 is usually good. I mean, I also love single barrel stuff too. Anything where I can buy one that is just like the profile can vary within a small amount is usually pretty exciting to me. Like anything where it's like, I know that like with Knob Creek, I know that in general, I like to profile.
Yep.
So if there's going to be a little bit of wiggle room there to catch one, like one of my absolute favorite pours ever is Bourbon Pursuit Knob Creek single barrel. I want to say it's like 13 years old. It's called the Man of Few Words. And it's just absolutely fucking dialed in for everything I like. And anything that, like, you could have something that's your absolute favorite pour, and then the next barrel is just like, oh yeah, that's also good, but it's like totally different.
Yep.
So let me go back and just answer Joel's question here. So Joel is the owner of Oak Bottle. They make a home aging product here. You can throw some products in here and age them up, add some oak character to them. We like to screw around with those and see what we can get out of them. I threw some coffee in there, some whole coffee beans, and I let those age up for a couple days. I then threw some maple syrup in there. No, what was the exact order? It was coffee beans, and then I made an aged Whistle Pig 10-year in there, and then I used that to make a Manhattan, and then I barrel aged that Manhattan, and then went as far as I filled it up with maple syrup, and then aged that, and then went back to adding whiskey again, and the end product is something crazy. It's like this.
Has science gone too far?
There's no such thing as science, actually. This is a whole different type of thing that you wouldn't understand.
As a scientist, though, it kind of throws me off, but I'll take it.
That's what I'm saying.
That is bonkers.
So anyway, yeah, I made some crazy bullshit, and I sent some to Joel, and he thought it was good and wanted to know if I could recreate it, and I did. And it's fucking crazy. Don't tell anybody about it, though, because I don't have a whole lot of it, and I'm probably going to drink most of it and send the rest to Joel.
The patent is pending, so, just fuck off.
Yep. Everybody kindly piss off while I sell this back to Joel, who sent me the oak bottle.
There you go. Yeah, so honestly, I mean, to get back to the Knob Creek part of things.
Oh, right.
Let's
buy some Knob Creek.
I think A is very clear in my pick. I think that, great things out of C. I think if we were taking 2 of these, unfortunately, Beam is like you can only have 1 of these. It's not like Turkey that said, sure, why don't you take 2 of these?
Yeah, whatever. Buy whatever you can.
Which
the
is
sad
weird,
part is that Beam's probably got more barrels than fucking anybody on the planet too.
I mean, they do. And in fact, it was actually kind of hard. It's like this showed up just a little bit under a month ago, and Beam is like, if you don't pick this in 30 days, we just give all the barrels back, which is fine. Like, life happens, COVID happens. So, they're good enough to let us take a couple-day extension. But,
Sure.
Me being like, let's take every barrel and then we'll blend them and we'll do 1,000 bottle release, like Beam.
Yeah. Let's get weird.
Not so much, but
oh yeah, that's what I meant. Was not. Oh, we should not do that.
But I mean, I think A is my pick. Maybe. What do you think, John? Do you have a favorite of the 3? Do you have first, second, third?
I mean, I want to go with A because I think it'll make the most interesting bottling for everybody. I really like C. I don't feel like it deviates all that far from what you could buy on the shelf, but I do like it. And B, I think deviates a pretty good amount from that shelfie offering.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, if A were a different sample altogether, B could be my pick or C could be my pick.
Certainly.
But I mean, these really do, branch out in 3 different directions. And I think A is the right choice for this one.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest, like knowing what these were ahead of time, I was very surprised to see like these were all, I told the viewers, I didn't tell you, these are all from the same warehouse. These are all in within 6 bricks of each other, and they're all within a tier of each other. So they're in very similar parts of the warehouse, but totally different profile.
Oh, yeah. I'd go as far as to say drastic, really.
Like, honestly, I would have guessed different warehouses, which I think kind of busts the thing. Like, people get really attached to certain warehouses with certain distilleries.
Well, we're kind of trained to. I mean, with certain brands of products, they release things that only come from certain areas. Like, we kind of get trained to think like, okay, this is the warehouse I like because it's the warehouse I know I like.
Certainly. But it's nice to see like these are crazy different profiles from the middle of one warehouse that are all different from each other. But yeah, I agree. I think that like C is like what I would expect if I just straight up bought a Knob Creek off the shelf. B is like, whoa, this is really interesting, but a little too sweet for me. And A is like, this has it going on.
Yeah. And the finish on A is fucking money too. Very, very nice.
Very top notch. I'm a big fan. This is let's see. I won't give out all the details, but yeah, this is from Warehouse X, Floor 3, Rack 40. And this was originally
like all the details.
Well, I won't give like. There's some stuff I can't give away just because of the retailer, but yeah. So and honestly, barrel proof for this is 125 proof. So it's only going to drop 2.5% when it goes into the bottle, which I think is huge. It's not going to change a ton.
Yeah.
Which is really great. Some of these, like some of the old ones were coming out like 135, 139. And like, that's a big change to 120.
Yeah. I think we got a winner here, man. I would be very surprised if that doesn't proof down into one hell of a tasty single barrel.
No kidding. And this should give us about 160 bottles, I think. 150, 170 maybe. Man, that's yummy. So I think we got about 5 minutes left. If anyone has any Q&A, maybe we'll get Hinky. We'll blend these a little bit. I don't know.
I'm going to blend them right now. I'm going to get weird.
I kind of thought you might.
And like the best part about this is there's no way that we'll have the same blend because of the amounts that we've drank from each various sample. So mine's going to be obviously heavy on B because we went back and forth between A and C so much.
Okay. Well, and I'm the one that has the cylinder here. Knob Creek. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why they sent me a cylinder since we weren't blending.
It must have been for proofing.
I think it is for proofing.
And then proof to 120. But then what are you going to do? Like dump it all out into a glass and then clean the cylinder and do it again? Yeah, chug it.
I might dump this in here just so I can blend it. But yeah, you've seen the movie Airplane, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is when I developed my drinking problem.
This is when. Okay.
All right, yeah, we got all three
I'm
here.
gonna blend here. If I had to do some rough math, and I'm talking like back of the napkin while driving down the road math, I would say that I'm probably like 60 to 70% on B, and I don't know. A would be the smallest component. Is
Okay,
the best I could give you, I think.
that seems fair. Oh yeah, OITD out in the dark brought up a great question for Zillah's notes. Maybe we should grab those too.
Oh yeah, I assume that you would reveal that while I was off gallivanting.
No, I just brought up the warehouse stats. So let me shoot. Where is it? For those of you that have been in our bourbon for a long time, Zillah is one of the other great mods. He's predated me by many years. Great guy. So I sent this over to him. Let's see. I'll paraphrase. You can expect tomorrow or Monday, I'll do a huge post with all of the notes and stuff like that. But it looks like, okay. Zillah's ranking was A, C, and B as well.
Oh, no kidding.
All right, so we're not crazy. So,
Well, if we are, that's not the indicator. Sorry, go ahead.
Fuck, dude. So it looks like Zillah, and I'm reading really quickly here. He sent me a huge post, which is awesome. It looks like he wasn't like blown off of his feet by any of these, but he liked A, followed by C, and he thought B was the most pedestrian with a great finish, but it wasn't as interesting, which I think is pretty agreeable.
Yeah,
At
A
least
is, I would say, the most interesting of the lot here. I mean, and I can kind of see where, especially, I don't know what Zillah's into, but if they're a a Knob Creek fan, and like me, I mean, I've at any given time probably got a baker's dozen of these single barrels open, and I really like to kind of go through and compare them. If you're somebody who's deep into the Knob Creek world, I could see how these might not, fly off the shelf into your eyes, because they're just, we have one that's wildly on profile, one that's wildly off, and then one that sort of meets in the middle. And I mean, nothing here is like jumped right out at me like, oh, holy shit, that thing's got to be 13, 14, 15 years. Which I think if there was one in there, I'd be like, everybody shut up. This is what we're getting. We don't even need to open the other two.
It is refreshing to know, though, that those are essentially discontinued as of like 6 months ago. Like, they're still popping up here and there, but those are from picks that were done last year, the year before. I'd be shocked if we see like a very modern, non-LE, non-gift shop. I mean, which kind of makes me sad. Like, I've been trying to get one of these together for a long time, and I bought, like 50 plus single barrels a couple of years ago, and like you could just get anything from anywhere, because Beam was just like, get these barrels out of our warehouse, which I think is really interesting.
Make some space. The blend is good.
I like the blend a lot.
I wish I had a little bit more of the A sample to blend into it, because I think it would work really nicely in there.
Sure. Honestly, though, I think I like A on its own better than the blend.
It's not better than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean? It's not like turning these samples into a blend was like, oh, holy shit, I wish we could get it. Like,
yeah,
it's cool. It tastes good. I like it, but I think A is the right choice for this.
Good. Well, I think I agree with you, and it sounds like Zillah agrees. Tomorrow, I will write up a big post. Auditor had a great question. How would you rank the Knob Creek single barrel program? I think, at least to me, and I'll give you a minute to answer, John. I think we'll probably disagree on this, which is great. But I mean, 5 years ago, the Knob Creek single barrel program was a hot mess. It was garbage. You could either get the best single barrel you ever had, or it was a flaming death trap, and you want to just run for the hills. That is very clearly not the case now. To me, I mean, whether it's 9 or 15 years locally, these are always $42.99, $44.99, maybe $47.99. I think the most expensive ones I bought were from Lincoln Road, and we know they overcharge for pretty much everything. So like the value comparison here to me is a no-brainer. I think it's better than Russell's. Like Russell's is good, but I think that you get a little less diversity in profile. I think Knob is more about running free and just kind of letting you get for it. But I think overall it's a pretty good program. I usually buy Russells whenever I can. If they're $49 to $70, wherever they're coming from. We got some Bourbon ones coming through that I think are going to be really interesting because I've tasted them and I know what people like. But really the only one I haven't tried yet is the Old Forester single barrel program. And like $90 a pop. I'm a little unsure of those, but I think Knob Creek is fitting very nicely into the single barrel program for enthusiasts that are also coming in really high proof. Like these are always 60% ABV, which you don't get with everything else.
High proof, and they also carry a high age statement too, where an Old Forester pick is going to be 4 or 5 years. Jack Daniel's going to be 5-ish years. Anything out of those. I mean, there's some outstanding stuff to be picked there, both at a Brown Foreman style pick or Turkey. I'm a big fan of Turkey. I love a lot of their stuff. I've probably got very close to the same amount of Russell's picks as I do Knob Creek that will be open at the same time. And on any given day, I would say I probably lean toward the Knob Creeks a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think there's more variance in the Russells for me than there is in the Knob Creeks. But it's kind of hard to say. I mean, we're talking about taking one recipe and putting it in a warehouse and seeing what happens to it on both sides of the house. So,
sure,
Russells are going to be right around 10 years. Knob could be like 9 to 15. So you get a wider age spread on in 3 years from now when there's no Knob picks over like 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might find the gap get a little bit tighter.
That's a very good point. Like, they're at first I think they're super different, but the more I think about them, like other than the age component, they're very similar.
Yeah, they really can be. Like, I mean, I've had some Russells sent to me blind that I've been like, man, this could be a beam product, but it doesn't it usually for me, it comes down to the layers of fruit that come through. Like I said earlier, the Turkey stuff for me usually leans a little bit more towards like a citrus or a darker, like a blood orange type of deal.
Yeah.
And the Knob stuff is usually on the red fruit side, but it's kind of like indiscernible. Like it could be a berry or it could be like maybe darker stone fruit or something. But the profile isn't totally different, but there's just that, that beam peanut type of thing that goes on in those. That I don't know if I could pick a favorite. It really comes down to the night, I think.
And it really comes down to the barrel too. Like both of these have massive barrel variation. Like previously it was a flopper beam. Like it went so far between like good and
the old Knob stuff could
now they've
a
compressed
hot mess.
it.
You're right about that for sure.
And I think that Turkey's kind of done the same. Like Russell's Reserve 10-year, whatever their small batch is probably, at least when I had it a couple of years ago, it was one of the worst bourbons I'd ever had. And I was like, fuck this. And obviously they brought that around. So
yeah, they've changed that up significantly.
Both brands of beers are like
last like 2 years.
QA is like very important, like especially in a product that like people are going to put in their mouth.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're going to age state it and keep the price low, like on Russell's 10.
Yeah,
it has to be good, because at that price, like a lot of people are going to be like, hey, even if this isn't that great, I'm going to try it. And then if they only buy it once, that is a shitload of bottles to sit out there on the shelf. And at that point, why even age state it? Why not just like drop the age statement and hide all your young barrels in there? You know what I mean? Like if you're going to go like
small batch,
right? If you're going to go that far with it, make it decent. I think they knew that about it and they brought it back around.
I think that they have, because it's definitely a different product than it was years ago.
All right, I think we're heading up on that time limit here.
Yeah, why don't let's pop up. E.g. Rives had a great question. I think that and we'll end the night on that. But yeah, I've kicked the tires. It's unfortunately it's super hard to get in with 4 Roses right now, especially with COVID. After Knob Creek, a big dream of mine is a 4 Roses, whether it's a single barrel or a single barrel private selection. If we can, we'll get there. I think we'll get there soon, but it's going to take some time. So, it's not something we just get to wander up and buy a barrel, but we'll get there.
They were shut down for a long time too.
They really were. And their new pick procedure, I mean, more power to them. I think that if you're being safe in COVID, that is absolutely the way to go. Instead of just like packing your warehouse with people. So, it'll get back when it gets back. We'll figure it out. But I think someday we'll get one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think thank you for joining us, everyone. For those who are tuning in or just kind of closing out for the night, pouring your last drink, we did select sample A, which surprisingly was unanimous between Zillah, who's a fellow moderator of Our Bourbon, myself, moderator of Our Bourbon, and John, who's the owner of the Whiskey Net and kind of the producer and the master of the buttons here. John, thanks so much for your time tonight. This was another great selection. Next week, I can't wait for Smooth Ambler with a little more full house. But yeah, I'm Jay at Takeout Review. You can find me online. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. If you have questions about the selection, feel free to hit me up. If not, I'll be on Reddit tomorrow posting all of this detail in a text post for you, whether catching your program or hanging out or doing something instead of watching TV. But John, why don't you take us home while I finish off this glass of Nut Creek?
I think you should, man. Thanks again for everybody joining us, hanging out in chat. Had a great time. It was really cool to be able to go through these. A huge Knob Creek fan, just like Jay said. I mean, being able to pick one of these is it's just like a special fun thing to do. And I appreciate everybody coming in to hang out with us while we did it. It was nice to be able to answer some questions while we're doing it. Makes it a little bit more fun to have the experience as a shared deal. It's not like just us kicking each other under the table here while we're doing this thing. And Jay's not just doing whatever he's doing with the box. But again, I'm John. You can find me at thebourbonfinder.com, on Instagram at thebourbonfinder. And I think, I want to get one more of these things here. There was one more thing up in chat I was going to post up, but that's all right. We can come back around. There's always going to be more chat.
Yeah.
So I guess on that note, I really want to be able to hold up my glass to say cheers to everybody as I close it out. But I kind of, with the setup here and the Whiskey Net production studio, TM, we just can't pull that off right now.
That third hand will come in handy.
Too many things on the right side of my desk. I usually drink with my left hand, and doing all of these things just isn't adding up. So anyway, thanks for coming in, people. Appreciate you. And this will be coming out. I think Jay's going to offer the lottery up soon, right? And we'll be rolling this out as soon as possible. Yeah,
probably October, November. But yeah, stay tuned for Smooth Amber next week. That will be the first bottling available.
Oh, we also have, let me look at the dates. Yeah, next week we're going to have Traverse City on the weekly whiskey stream. So Tuesday night at 9 Eastern, we'll be having Chris Fredrickson from Traverse City Whiskey Co. Going to come in, sit down, talk whiskey, hear their story, and see what's going on. So if you guys are free next Tuesday night, swing in for that. And next Thursday night will be another barrel selection. So shit's going to get busy. So
full house, man.
Get ready because it's going to get weird. Cheers.
Have a good one, everyone.